Direct mail is not dead, it just needs to be reimagined. Today what I want to do is I'm going to show you some examples from agents across the country of exactly what they're doing with direct mail, how they're getting results, and how you can apply these in your business so that your next mailer generates some contracts. Well, one thing we know about direct mail is that we're going to be mailing to homeowners, so consequently we're focusing on the side of the business that we know we should be focusing a little more time on, which is the listing side of the business. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to break this down into 6 different types and categories. So I'm going to start with some just sold programs that are different, that'll give you a better idea and understanding of how to do this effectively. Then I'm going to do some general pieces directly to homeowners. Then we're going to talk about expired listings, specifically what is the language you can do both with 6 to 24-month-old expired listings as well as listings that expire right now. Then I'm going to go into some neighborhood groups and then just some general pieces that'll help you build your brand. All of this is to hopefully just get your creativity, your juices flowing a little bit. Maybe you copy it exactly, but also maybe it's something where that you just get a little creative and you take parts of one and bring it over to the other. So let's get right into this, and I'm going to share my screen as we're showing some of these and walk you through these specific letters. The first one we're going to go through is we're going to talk about some just sold, reimagining the just sold. Now, some of these are going to have a lot of influences in them. You'll hear some of these, that they're going to have influences from some of the stuff that Tom Ferry's talked about, specifically some of the stuff that Jimmy Mackin's talked about, you know, listing leads and some of the things that they're doing over there, which is as creative as anything I'm seeing right now as far as direct mail. So we're going to get right into one of them that is inspired by Jimmy Mackin, and this is from Noah Escobar, serving the 30A market in Northwest Florida. So one of the things you're going to notice on this is going to be mailed in a regular envelope. And if you're doing this to a smaller group, handwriting the addresses on these is absolutely going to get your open rate to go through the roof. Now, what you'll notice here is as this was folded, if this is folded, when they open this at the top of this, you're going to see, did you hear about your neighbor? And it gives the address, and here's the story shows. Now, this is going to create a ton of curiosity. They're going to open this up, and you'll notice what Noah did here is he went through and actually put a timeline together. And what we're doing by this is we're talking in a way that gives people the ability to see themselves in this process if they're considering selling. And instead of just doing a just sold in 3 days and multiple offers and basically just being just like everything else, we're going to tell the story of how we got to that point. So the first point is your neighbor called us, and he talks about the fact that they came in and they were looking to maximize the value of their home. The next part is I got to work. You can see where he talks about leveraging video production and what he did to generate some organic leads on YouTube. But he doesn't just tell them that. He then gives a QR code that actually goes to the video. And if you want to see that video, you can just click that QR code that's right there. Next, he talks about a buzzworthy launch. He talks about actually launching this listing onto the market, how he talked and related this to a number of other realtors who are out there. Then he talks about receiving the multiple offers, how he negotiated, and through this, how he was able to get a sale that was the highest price per square foot of the most recent new construction sale. You'll notice down at the bottom, subtle. Do you have a similar goal? Let's chat. There's not a strong call to action. This is a super effective piece. It's going to stand out from the typical just sold postcard, and it's going to give the ability to highlight, like Noah did, exactly what he did to get that sale, and then it gives these sellers the ability to capture their attention, see something creative, and see themselves in that process as well. Next up is another creative just sold postcard. This is actually from Colin's Realty Group, my buddy Chip Collins up in the low country, up in South Carolina. And what I love about this is again, he's taking a little bit of a spin off of some of the things that Jimmy Mackin's talked about with the Zestimate, and you're going to see that in the details with this one. You'll notice up on the top left of this where he goes in and he says, the Zestimate was wrong. We sold for $510,000 over Zillow. Ask us how. And another thing, little subtle thing he did in here, another Sea Pines home sold, really basically playing into the fact that this is not just the first one, this is just another one that they've done in this neighborhood. Again, on the other side of this, you're going to notice that he gives some of their credentials, the #1 real estate team since 2021. He's also going to talk about some of the things that they do that are a little bit different, bullet pointed. You'll see the picture of the team highlighting the strength and the numbers they have, and they also have the QR code down below that gives an opportunity for people to learn more about them and see the differences they have through video. You know, Chip Collins and the Collins Realty Group does an amazing job up there in that Hilton Head Island area. We're going to have a few of theirs additional coming up as well. Now, going right along the Zillow lines that we were talking about that Jimmy kind of created, you're going to see some creative things that people are doing. This is more specific to the strategy that he talked about, and this is with the Fissori Realty team out of San Luis Obispo out in California. And we're going to go through and show exactly what they did with this, and this has generated some opportunities for them directly from this letter as well. You're going to obviously notice the branding down below that Kathy and Peter do with this, but I love the fact that they basically took the exact strategy that Jimmy talks about and they put it into use. You'll notice at the top, Zillow thinks your home is worth and gives the price. And then they talk about the purchase price. Obviously, they've owned this thing for a little while if it was $28,000, but what you'll see here is the next paragraph they go in and they talk about, we couldn't call ourselves good realtors if we didn't ask, would you consider selling if you received an offer 10% higher than the Zestimate, which would be $977,790. If you answered, I'd consider it, text us and we'll let you know. The other thing they did is they actually put a sticky on the front of this. You can notice they just kind of printed it in here, but one of the things is you could actually have these stickies that you hand write. Would you consider this selling it for 10% more than this? Call or text. This is a very, very effective strategy. You can notice they just took a picture from Zillow, circled the actual price they had, put it in this letter so that it was directly in there. Again, what I love that Kathy and Peter did with this is that they had the picture of the actual house from Zillow on that letter. When you have that personalized picture of that, I promise people are going to read the letter and it's going to create opportunities. Next up is a 6 to 24 month expired strategy that I've been talking about for a number of years that is becoming more and more effective every single day. This is from Jake Garay up in the Hudson Valley area with the Garay-Michaud team, and we're going to go through and show you exactly what he's doing. It starts with him looking up all of the expired listings that were 6 to 24 months old. Now you're going to have to do a little extra research here, finding out to make sure that they aren't relisted, under contract, or that have sold since they were actually when they expired. But once you have this list, this is a very effective group to be able to put some messaging in front of, especially if you follow what Jake's doing here, and you're going to get some results. One of the things Jake did is you can notice in here, he goes through this letter and he says, I'm sure you've received countless calls, emails, and messages from realtors hoping to list your home, with many likely suggesting you simply lower the price to get it sold. I take a different approach. The key to this is he is talking about a different approach here. He talks about how they reposition at the same price and get the ability to remarket this in a different way. He also, if you'll notice down below, he has a QR code for people to scan, which gives a brief overview of exactly what they do, who they are, so that they have an introduction to those folks. You'll also notice down at the bottom there, he says, please scan the QR code below for a short video demonstrating how we leverage these tools for driven results. This is a specific strategy that Jake says that they have generated 3, not only listings, but closings in excess of $1 million using this exact letter to that exact group of people. If I'm you, I would copy this, I would put it into effect in your local market, and you're going to get some results as well. All right, this is the last one I swear that I'm going to talk about from my buddy Jimmy Mackin, but it's such good stuff. But what we're going to do is I'm going to talk about his expired letter that he's utilizing, that some of his clients have actually, one of them I believe got an over $10 million listing appointment directly from this letter. So let's go through, because this is one of those that's going to make you stand out from the crowd of all the other letters and all of the other marketing they're receiving. He starts out right out of the gate just identifying with them and understanding and letting them know he understands where they are. Now that your home didn't sell, you've had a wave of agents promising you they can get the deal done. You've heard this story before, you're not buying it. So immediately he's talking to them in a different way that kind of gives a little bit of a different basically perspective, and they're like, wow, this is a little bit different. And then he actually goes through and he talks about that if your home didn't sell, there's 3 reasons. It was priced incorrectly, it didn't get enough exposure, it wasn't presented properly. And he says in this very candidly, now if you believe that the reason your home didn't sell is because of number 1, which is basically priced incorrectly, you don't need another agent, you just need to lower your price. By coming in and talking specifically to their need and their pain point, and then talking about that maybe you don't need me if that's what you believe, but there is a different perspective, now he's relating to people in a different way than typical marketing pieces will. Now's where he gets very specific. He says, to sell it for top dollar, there are 10 essential marketing tactics. I've reviewed your home on the multiple listing service, and you're missing 6 of them. I'm confident if you can fix them, you could sell your home for $865,000, which was the list price. Even if you're not planning on relisting your home, I'd love the opportunity to share with you my insight on what to do to ensure that you don't have to experience this again. This is, again, one of the most powerful written pieces that I've seen for expired listings. It identifies the pain point, it speaks to the pain point, it talks about how he's different, and he gives a solution. This is one that you can copy, and I know you're going to get some results with as well. All right, now we're going to move to working in specific neighborhoods, your farm area, some of the pieces you can do there. And part of this is not just having mail pieces, but actually having activities in the neighborhood. One of the best that I've seen at doing this is Julie Colin up in St. Louis. Once a year, she does this dump or donate program. So the front of the neighborhood neighborhood or somewhere close by, they're going to have a dumpster as well as they're going to have a truck from Habitat for Humanity. People can bring their things. Habitat for Humanity takes a look at it, says, yes, we can use this or not. If they can't, goes in the dumpster. It's a great time for spring cleaning. It's a great way to get an entire neighborhood involved. And Julie has seen some great results with this. Let me just show you the mail piece that she does because it's multiple tiered. She's reaching out multiple times to this group. She does it on a Saturday, and it is very effective for her to be recognized as someone that is bringing value to the neighborhood. All right, you'll notice on this, Julie has a marketing background. So one of the things she does is bright colors, grabs attention, the neighborhood. And then what she does is she gives a very clear understanding of exactly what this is. Dump, and then below that she has the sponsor she gets for the hauling away of things, because it doesn't cost her anything actually, with the way she does this. And then she has Habitat for Humanity Restore under Donate. Now on the other side of this, she's got a couple of things. She basically explains it. Cluttered closet, scary garage, it's time for the second annual Dump or Donate event because one person's trash is another person's treasure. She gives the time. She says, bring those mystery boxes. And then she has off to the side the website that she has for the community so that if people are interested in real estate activities. It's very clear that she's a real estate agent, but it's also very clear that she's bringing value in a unique way to this specific neighborhood, setting her apart and making her the expert and the resource for all the homeowners in that neighborhood. Next up is Jason Gruner. He serves the Nashville, really luxury side of Nashville, a specific area. And one of the things that he does really well is the branding he does for that neighborhood. Now, he wants to set himself apart, so he uses some of these marketable moments we've talked about by having exact branding on specific places. So you'll notice here, he's got this single house and he's got it coming soon with the price. And then he's got the exact same picture that says new listing. And then he's got the one that says under contract. And then he has the one that says just sold. Again, he's reinforcing the fact that he is doing the business. He's taking one particular listing, getting 4 marketing pieces from that, and driving home the fact that he is the expert and the resource in that neighborhood. Another one that he does, which is less branded towards him and more branded towards the neighborhood, is his market overview for specific neighborhoods. One of the things I really like about this is that Jason takes his ego and his pride that a lot of agents can't get past out of this and makes the neighborhood the actual star of the show, so to speak. So you'll notice here it says free November 2024 report for this specific neighborhood. I'd probably say it wrong, Fairview Plantation. And it goes through the home prices, and it talks about also get a free report with the up-to-minute statistics based on all the neighborhood sales for sale and sold in this neighborhood. You'll notice he uses a QR code here because a lot of Jason's business is driven on video. And so what this does is it gives him the ability to send them to a squeeze page where he grabs their email address and then he emails them the actual video where they can see all the details on the neighborhood, the activities, and makes him have the ability to stand out and have a communication directly through video with all these homeowners. He also utilizes the front part of this where he's on the mailing portion to really drive home and have his FairviewPlantationReport.com set up front. He talks a little bit about this, but really all of this is done to drive people in that neighborhood to see where there is value being given and that he's the person giving that value. Next up is a couple more pieces from Chip Collins and the Collins Group Realty up in the low country of South Carolina. This is one specifically to a neighborhood. They have a 55 and older community, a Margaritaville community up there. So I want to break this down because this is a fold over type of piece of mail where the front and the back portion are folded, but once it opens, it has the full length of where it explains exactly the details he wants to show. So this is actually the piece that you would see the front and the back of this, and this is the outside of this mailer. You'll notice on the front of this, it has when you want margarita results. He's very specifically calling out that who this is for, and this is for that specific neighborhood. On the back, you'll notice he has the #1 real estate team in Hilton Head Island, Bluffton Market area for closed units. Again, just driving home the value he gives. Now, as we open this up and we go into the inside, one of the things is he's talking about the strength. Collins Group Realty has sold 54 homes in Margaritaville with 14 more pending. Again, showing strength. A note from your neighbor. He's doing and utilizing an existing neighbor that used them in the sale as someone that gives a reference. Again, giving the ability for them to relate to working with the Collins Group. Next up, he goes through when it's time for a change. Again, this is some of the type of marketing that he does where he talks about exactly what they do. It's never too soon to chart your next course. Call today. This is the type of piece that you could use in a neighborhood that you absolutely dominate. Maybe it's your farm area and you've had some successes. Not only do you share that you've had successes, you talk and you give a recommendation or review from one of the neighbors that gives them the ability to relate. It also gives you the ability to talk about your value proposition. If you have a specific neighborhood that you dominate, this is the mail piece that I would suggest you send to that group. Right along those lines, sometimes we have specific times between market reports we do to neighborhoods and we have some filler pieces. Now, when we want to have these filler pieces, we want to make sure that they're branding us. Now, this is another one from Chip and the Colin's group Realty that really drives home some of these different types of things we can do. Again, on the front of this, you're going to see very specific when you want proven results and it has their branding, something that everybody's going to be able to relate to. On the second page of this, it shows the strength of the team. Don't just list your home, launch it. Now, again, they're setting themselves apart. Our proven strategy for the best results goes through their value proposition. It's never too soon to start your plan. Call today. Again, clear messaging, very clear as far as that they are a dominant group in that area. This is one that you would send maybe on an off month as far as one of the months when you don't have maybe a specific piece that you're going to be sending on the market overview or you don't have a specific just list or just sold. Great piece to send out to those farming neighborhoods that you're working in. Now, there's always some times when we have these gap months where we need to continue to have our branding going out, but we don't have specific sales, we don't have specific pieces, so we're going to have some filler times. One of the things that I love that Heidi Harris does up in the Raleigh, North Carolina area is that she sets out a schedule for the entire year and she utilizes those to be the monthly pieces, and then she has her just listed, just solds that are in between. So let me get to some of these specifically so you can see exactly what these look like. History of Raleigh street names. It goes through and talks about where the street names came from. Also, she does want to sound like a local, and she actually gives a pronunciation for each of those streets as well. Again, driving home the value, giving and putting her branding in front of the people and giving a unique perspective on some of these different things that are going on in the community. Last one that I want to share that she does is a unique spin on the recipe cards. Now, I've never been one that's done the recipe cards. People get great results when they do this a little bit in a unique way. So I'm going to share exactly what with this one that Heidi did that got some results because of the way that she did it creatively. She specifically used the Super Bowl and Super Bowl recipes, and what she did is she took pictures of team members and showed the dish, and then she had QR codes down below for the specific recipe for each of the team members. Again, doing this just in a little bit of a unique way, giving 3 different things there and being specific to the time of getting ready for Super Bowl parties, which a lot of people do. Another person that's getting some results with utilizing the recipe cards in a unique way is Reganne Queen in Central Texas. Again, one of the things she does is, as you'll see in this, is how she relates to the people she's sending these mailers to. She's heavily involved in the military community there, and you'll just notice on the front of this, she just has, I hope you enjoy in this amazing recipe. She gets the ability for people to relate to her. As a military spouse, mom of 2, and entrepreneur, my passion is helping others. Let's connect and see if allow my experience to help you navigate buying and selling a home. And then she goes on the backside into the recipe. Now, one thing that's unique about this, not only she gives the recipe, but down below you'll notice this QR code, and you can take a look at this and see, but what she does is she actually records herself cooking this recipe, which gives the ability for the people that are going to cook this to actually go on and cook this recipe at the same time with her. What's great about this is that Reganne is actually utilizing the ability to connect with people through the video. This has generated 2 listings she's getting ready to come to the market right around the holidays. This is another way to do something a little bit unique. I hope that all of these have inspired you to think about your direct mail in a new and a fresh way. If you'll take these and use them as a framework and get creative on your own, I promise direct mail is not dead. You're going to get some deals from it. Thanks for watching the video. I specifically chose the video below for you because it builds on the one you just watched. I hope it's helpful, and I'll talk to you soon.